Friends, always remember this. When it's all said and done, unfortunately, there'll be more said than done. I want to talk to you today about action and not words. There's a lot of people that you'll hear a lot of folks talk a lot on social media about what they're going to do. You hear a lot of people talk about a lot of prophetic words, but you don't see a lot of action. You need to become a person of action. And I pray and declare that today, my voice is going to help open up something in your life. It's going to speak to a dead dream, a dead destiny, and it's going to help you come alive. There's something that you know you were supposed to do, that you went out and you professed it, that you told a lot of people you were going to do. You made a social media post, you wrote it in your journal, but then consequences and situations and circumstances of life came in and critical voices came in and pushed that dream, that destiny down. And you had a lot of words, you had a lot of talk, but you never had any action behind what you were speaking about. There's an old saying that says, strike while the iron is hot. And so my wife and I, we're people of action. And there's a lot of times that when we feel a prophetic word or something, we will put that word out there. We will declare that word. We will tell one another that word so we can hold each other accountable. I want to be around people who are people full of action. Recently, there was a young guy I meet with every so often, and we sit down and I let him talk for a while, and he talked about all that he was going to do, and it was good. And so we came back, we're going to talk in about a month, and we sit down and he started to talk about what all he was going to do. He said, excuse me, is this just the same conversation we had a month ago? And he said, yeah. I said, I'll tell you what, we'll come back in another month, but I'm not going to sit here and let you waste my time that is very valuable to tell me what you're going to do when I've already heard it once. See, the people that I love, I allow them to tell me what they're going to do one time. And the next time we talk, I want them to tell me how they got it done and what they're going to do next. See, when God gives you a prophetic word and you steward that prophetic word, He will give you another prophetic word. A lot of people that I know that write books, they write numerous books. In fact, I plan to release 5 books this year because there's a lot of people out there that aren't writing books that they're called to write. Therefore, God has to keep giving the same people more books. You know, there's a lot of people out there that whenever they get a prophetic word, it falls upon deaf ears. Well, God's not going to give them a whole lot more. There's a lot of times people will message me and they'll be like, hey, I haven't received a prophetic word from God in 3 or 4 months, and I'm kind of bummed about it. I'm like, well, what did you do with the last prophetic word? And they're like, well, nothing. I said, well, it's just laying dormant. Do what He's called you to do. I want to be somebody who is full of action. I want to be somebody who is always moving forward and on the cutting edge of what God is doing. My wife and I, we're health coaches in Optavia, and they have a saying, be a health coach that is full of massive action. And my wife and I, we've actually built through this company just a great organization. And we have a lot of coaches that are in our organization. But with all of our coaches, we have a lot that are doing something, and then we have a handful that are in what we call massive action. Now, all of them have a plan. All of them talk about what they're going to do, but there's only a small portion who are actually doing great things. Now, my wife and I have a very powerful apostolic network, and we have a lot of people in there. But there's only a handful that are actually really doing something powerful. Now, an old church saying is 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. 20% of the people are the core people that do the work. Why? Because they're people of massive action. You know, there's another old saying that I love. If you want to find somebody to help you in your organization, find the person who is doing the most and give them the task. The person that's not doing anything, don't give them anything to do because you'll still get nothing done. And I found that out to be true. The people in our church, in our network, and in our coaching business, the people that when we need something done, we give it to the ones that are doing the most. They'll just add it to their plate because they will get it done. The people who are lazy, the people that don't get anything done, that's just a mindset. That is a lifestyle. Be somebody who is full of action. Be somebody that God can trust a prophetic word to. You know, if you're the person at your job that is getting all of the work, yes, they should compensate you. You should be paid well. You should get bonuses. You should get promotions. But a lot of times when they dump a lot on you, it is because they know that you're going to get it done. Be somebody that God continually gives stuff to. I tell people and our administrators all the time that I'm not overwhelmed, but I'm close to the point of being overwhelmed because God gives me so much to do, gives me numerous ministries and business ideas that I've got to hire administrators and people with the gifts of help to help get it all out because I am a person of massive action. And if you are a dreamer and you tell me your dream and you are running close with me, I will do whatever it takes to help pull that greatness, that dream out of you because I want to be around people who are full of massive action. Now, recently a young man reached out to me and said, hey, can I have an hour of your time? And I politely replied, no. He replied back, why not? I said, because I've known you for years and we had the same conversation we've had for the last 4 years. No offense, I guard my time and I value my time. And what happens in life when you become a person of massive action, you have to guard your time. I'm not going to be somebody that just has a lot of talk, who has a lot of words. I'm going to be somebody known that I do what I say I'm going to do. I carry out the things God has called me to carry out. My God assignments will be fulfilled. So it's time for action, not time for talk. And listen, I say this in love and also in wisdom. If you've got people who just talk all the time, but they have no action, you need to separate yourself from them and get around the movers and shakers. I am recently in the middle of a business that I'm dealing right now, and we're working on a building, and the guy that's my contractor, he walks in, we talk about what all we need to do. He goes, oh yeah, I can do this, 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 and this, and just looks at me like no big deal, and he gets it done. I love being around people like that. I love talking in ministry. I hire different people to do different things to help us. And I love giving them a project. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll get it done. And I love seeing it done. Why? Because I'm a person of action. When you get around the right people, when you hear the right voices in your life, it will spur you on, champion you to the cause that God has called you to. So action, not words. Don't be a person of talk. In fact, there's a lot of times in my life when I'm talking to somebody about it, we'll be talking about a vision, and they'll look at me and say, hey, give me the details. How are you going to get done? I said, I don't have time to tell you the details. Consider it done. And that is the type of person that I want to be. You don't have to explain yourself to everybody. Your work and your action will always speak louder than your talk. Don't be a person of good intentions. Be a person that gets stuff done, a get it done type of person. Those are the ones that will change the world and manifest the kingdom of God to change society.